Hey, what's up, everyone? Just waiting for everyone to get in here for a second. But how's everyone's Sunday morning going? Is everyone good? But today we're going to be talking about Living Legend, Chane, kind of like talking about the format as a whole, building a Living Legend deck with Chane and everything like that. Kind of talking about the ban, the suspension announcement. I'm kind of new to the format myself, so I'm not coming into it with extreme knowledge of what the current, exact deck list for the meta, but playing in the whole Prism, Starvo, Chane era, I kind of have a rough idea of what to expect, but just kind of get in here. Just looking in the chat real quick. Seeing what's up, but thank you for everyone who's come out so far, saying hi. And I guess let's just get right into it. So right here, talking about Living Legend as a whole, just why I'm even covering this. One thing is just because Chane's my man and I want to build him in any single format I can. I want to play him in every format that I can. And right now, other than Commoner, I believe this is the only format. So, and it looks like also with the announcement for the Pro Tour that the LL Battle Harden is gonna, it's there again. We had it at Worlds with an LL Battle Harden, and now we have it again at Pro Tour with another LL Battle Harden. So it seems like it's a format that Legend Studio they want to push to a certain extent. I saw that with that little organized play schedule that they released earlier this year, they said they want to make about 10 to 15% of the callings Battle Hardens this format. So overall, I think it's just it's gonna kind of turn into like Legacy and Magic, where it's gonna be there for certain events, probably gonna be like 1 or 2 callings a year, a couple Battle Hardens here or there. But I think it's an interesting format, and it's gonna be cool to kind of just follow it along and be there. Sandtrap, thank you. I'm excited to be streaming. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited nonetheless, and I appreciate that you're here. But Living Legend kind of had a big shakeup in the last, I think it was December. But it looks like they had all these cards restricted, which was interesting because I think most of us thought they would definitely just be banning some of these cards, but I kind of like the idea that they're leaving some of that power in the set in the format, as a whole. And so let's just kind of talk about like the ban list, the implications, and also that's gonna go into like how does Chane work in that. So the main one, all these are pretty impactful. Most of these are Starvo cards, but Awakening at 1 of, I'm fine with it at 1 of, but it still 1 of kind of sucks because it's like if they see it and that's what loses you the game, that's fine. But I think as 1 of, it's healthy enough where you're not expecting that anytime that you just like race into a Guardian that they're just going to be able to pull a free Pulverize or Crippling Crush or some other big dumb attack on you. Channel Lake Frigid, another interesting one. Definitely didn't think that one would be hit on the list, but it kind of hurts Icelander too. It's weird, but I think what they're trying to do here, overall theme, is just kind of like not make aggro suck, which I appreciate. Big ones are the Crippling Crush, Oakenold, and Starstruck being restricted as well. I'm kind of just putting those all together because it makes for an interesting, because it's like it hurts Bravo Showstopper if anyone's playing that, but I don't think it is. But it's just less big attacks that they can play. I know the Starvos had the issue that they had too many options almost. Like they're like, man, I can't play Starstruck, Oakenold, Crippling, Pulverize, all these good Guardian attacks together. Like, you know, you have to have the fuse be consistent and everything, but this is definitely interesting. But the interesting format for sure, but the Prism/Spectra eliminates like half of the playable heroes. Prism's definitely in a weird spot in LL because like the Rune Blades are at full power, you know, and Fi's at full power, so she's definitely like knocking down. So it's like interesting if you pick Prism into the format, but it's definitely going to be a part of the format always. But yeah, Spectra, it's a mechanic. It is a mechanic in Flesh and Blood. Not saying it's good or bad, but it is a mechanic. Then moving on with the other cards, we got Hypothermia. I think this is great. I kind of hate this card, so I'm glad that Chane didn't have to play in a classic constructed format with this card. But playing Dash in classic constructed with this card, with Icelander having access to this card and Oldhim having access, it was still annoying. So I'm definitely happy with that as a one of. But again, nothing beats the one of this. I wish this card was banned, but I get it. It's Rune Blades are powerful. Viscerai, he's just an absolute powerhouse in this format. And Warmonger's Diplomacy, it helps other decks combat that. And kind of what I'm gonna say as for Chane, going back to Prism, this really kind of makes the Chane Prism match interesting, because I know a lot of people thought, like, even without, like, for example, if you were going to Barcelona playing Chane, you're like, I want to see Prisms all day, right? That was kind of the reason you were bringing that deck, to see the Prisms. But I honestly think that with Warmonger's Diplomacy, I didn't play it, Chane versus Prism in LL format with 3 Warmongers, but how Prism really wins the Chane match is by making them take a lot of blood debt that they don't want. And how they used to set that up was keep an Arclight in Arsenal. On one of their big Shackle 5 or 6 turns, they respond to the last Shackle, Arclight them, shut down the turn. And Warmonger's Diplomacy was a cheaper way of doing that. So when they had 3, when you have 3 Arclights and then 3 Warmongers, I don't even see how Chane would win that matchup with it being a favorable match. I just don't see how they would win that at all. But with the one of, it kind of makes it where they only have 4 ways to blow you out. Definitely, I think Prisms are going to be arsenaling that against Chane. Waiting, you know, arsenal the Warmongers or Arclight Sentinel, wait for Shackle 5 or 6, play that out, make them take blood debt. If they roll into another one, they kind of just win the game on the spot, other Arclight or Warmongers. I get why it's in the format, but it's a card. It's a card that's annoying. But just overall, kind of how these affect Chane, these restrictions, is, I would say it makes the Starvos probably play a more defensive build, which is okay for Chane. As a Chane, I'd rather someone try to fatigue me than try to race me with big on hits that I can't really stop with Dominate. Even though you have the Carry and Husk, it's like, it's hard to just block out an Oakenold for 11 Dominate, go again. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. So it's definitely good that these are there. Awakening being a one of definitely helps, because you're not just getting blown out by that all the time. Channel Lake Frigid helps Chane. All these pretty much help Chane, except the Warmonger's Diplomacy, but it still helps better than having 3 of them there. But just gonna get straight into it. The whole point is we're going to build Chane. So over here, I got my Pro Tour 1 Chane list. This is kind of the last Chane deck that was played at tournament levels. I think this is like the Pro Tour New Jersey and then the Pro Quest 2 meta Chane deck. So this is pretty much the last variant of Chane as it was legal and classic constructed. But great thing is in Living Legend, most noble thing is Seeds of Agony. So I'm just going to take kind of the skeleton, the ratios of this deck, and we're going to make a new list, see what does and doesn't make the cut in the deck. But honestly, even if you probably just took this list and just went into a Living Legend queue, it wouldn't be bad. Because a lot of the power cards are there. That it's kind of funny that whole Pro Tour New Jersey was kind of the full powerness of Flesh and Blood. Even in Living Legend, we're basically just playing that format over again, just with a couple different cards and new additions into the game. I definitely think, so question was, or a statement, all these restricted cards are hurting Icelander too much. I definitely think it hurt Icelander too much. She kind of got a kind of nerfed in Living Legend just because of all that. They probably could have, with the restricted, just said, Bravo Star of the Show cannot play these cards, and then you let Icelander have these powerful cards like Hypothermia or Channel Lake Frigid, or maybe you let her have the 3 Channel Lake, but then you just restrict the Hypothermia to 1, just because, like, I don't know, I don't see how she can put up with the life total being 4 less or 2 less. Sorry, it's Icelander's been out of the meta for like a couple months and it's already out of my mind. But with her lower starting life and everything, and you know, without Channel Lake Frigid, it's like, how is she shutting down these strategies in these decks? But especially with your next one, with good old Belittle. With Belittle in the format, did we really need Channel Lake Frigid restricted? That's kind of an interesting question, but I trust LSS that, you know, it's a process, and I think they're going to keep making additional changes to the format, and it's going to be kind of, I think they're going to take it meta by meta, doing things like that. Where there's some Dusk Till Dawn cards that make it into the LL list. Yeah, that's actually what we're going to talk about, is going to go ahead, make a copy of this list real quick. I might have to change it up for, we might have to export it real quick. Copy card list to decks and make it where it's open format, but it's the young hero. We want it to be the adult hero deck. Let's make that open. It's still throwing us with the young hero, but we can kind of, if I can't figure it out, we can kind of just talk about the deck and everything. Or we might have to choose a new hero. Let me try that one more time. We can find Chane Bound by Shadow here. There we go. All right, now we got the adult hero, so we can actually play this in Talishar. But we are just gonna kind of look at the deck overall, see where it's at. With the talks that we did, like, we're expecting Prism, we're expecting Lexi, we're expecting Bravo Star of the Show. I think we can expect Kano, because Kano was good in that Pro Tour 1 meta. So, you know, there's definitely changes we can make to the deck. Like, easiest change is inventory, remove. Then we go to get our AB2 in one piece right here. Then we look for our Spell Void, which is a shadow. Right here, we got our Spell Void 2. So now we have Spell Void and AB3 for Kano. So that was definitely an upgrade. Now we don't even have to worry about... I think with this, you don't even have to worry about Kano at that point. I don't know if Kano's going to be in the format, but that's definitely an upgrade. And then we can kind of just look at the whole shadow card pool together. Kind of just quickly going through it, see if there's anything that really sticks out. But from the new set, we'll go to Dusk Till Dawn. And cool thing is, if Kano becomes too big, too much of the meta, you can also play these Dance with Darknesses in the leg slot, and that Spell Void right there at home. So that's kind of a cool thing. You also have additional Arcane Barrier. You have flails that are cool. Definitely some interesting card choices here. I think this is definitely an interesting card. I don't know if it's better than Embolism, but it hits a couple different... It can hit cards 2 or greater, probably better, and a Rune Gate Chane. That's what I was going to kind of talk about, is that there's a couple ways to build Chane in Living Legend. I know someone just topped 8 won a PTI actually with a Chane LL deck. It was a Living Legend PTI tournament, and he said along the way, he didn't say which Chane he was playing. I think he was playing like the standard Belittle Chane that we're playing here. But along the way, he said he fought a Stubby's Duskblade Chane. And he actually lost to it in Swiss, but then beat it in top 8. So, with the Stubby's Duskblade and then the Belittle package, well, I'm sure Belittle's in that one too, but, and then you have a Rune Gate potential. I think there's a couple different ways that you can make Chane. I mean, I saw... Back in the day, there was a defensive Chane deck that played defense reactions and everything. It was trying to just combo people. So there's definitely things that you can do. Cool card. Requiem for the Damned. Make an Eloquence token. And this is way better in Chane than Bin said, because you get to play this for free. You get to give this go again for free. It's a 3-block as well. So there's definitely some merit to some of these new cards. Trying to just see Funeral Moon. I just don't know if they translate into the Belittle list well. That's my only thing. Kind of just take another look through some of the reds here. But I definitely think there's room for a Rune Gate Chane in LL. Like Envelop in Darkness, it's just a powerful card. But I don't think in Dusk Till Dawn there was too many upgrades that you can make to the Belittle Chane deck if you're not going with the Rune Gate version. So I don't think there's anything we necessarily need from Dusk Till Dawn for this particular list. Let me just get this re-sideboarded again so we can kind of talk about the core, look at it overall, talk about which cards are more flexible, and then which cards are kind of in the deck as you have to play these. And definitely with Seeds of Agony, there's some easy cuts here that you can definitely make. So this is what our 60 looks like. It's a very, very kind of just stock. You're doing what you're doing. You have poppers. You have the extra fatigue package in here, the invert existence, the time snap potions, the Howl from Beyond, the Eclipse. This is what we were working with at Pro Tour New Jersey in that last meta where Chane was available in CC. But now it's just kind of, it's changed a lot because we have the Seeds of Agony, and there's definitely things you can change. So cards I'm just gonna put to the side. That's what the maybe's there for. It's like, what's up, man? Hey, thank you for popping in. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put the cards that are good, like Nimblism. Definitely might make the list, but we're just gonna throw that in at maybe real quick. I think with the core though, like Yellow Captain's Call, so powerful, but we're gonna throw it in maybe because we're gonna toy around with a couple ideas. Swarming Gloomveil, it kind of fits so well. Throw it in the maybe. Howl from Beyond, don't even know if that makes it. Throw it into the maybe. Revel, maybe. And I think we are just about at the, I mean, Yellow Belittle. I think you might even want 3 of this, but keep 2 right now. But I think if you're playing the Belittle package, this is kind of the core you want. Where you just have enough targets to make the Belittle work. You have the Rift Binds, you have the 9 bounding, you have the other Belittles to make that work. You have the blues that are good value, like Vexing Malice, Shadow of Ursa, and that is kind of the base. Like, and now it's just kind of like, where do we want to fill in these gaps of these cards right here? These cards that, can they stay? Is there other things that we can cut them for? The first thing, yeah, Revel is a maybe. Definitely. I think there's just too many good cards. Like when you have Seeds of Agony, and maybe Seeds of Agony is just too free not to play it. But when you're playing Chane, you kind of get into situations where you kind of keep your 1 non-attack in your hand. You have to block your hand, and you're like, I have 1 non-attack. I hope to hit some boundings right here. And, you know, if you hit boundings, then you would rather it be a Nimblism or a Captain's Call to try to go a couple more wide. But with Seeds of Agony, it's definitely something that maybe that's a 3 of now, because it is easier to get non-attack actions in the bin, play them for free. And the other thing is, when we're doing any kind of deck building, we're looking at the blues, we're looking at the ratios. I believe the ratio was about 17 blues. You get to cheat a little bit because of Belittle, which is very nice. You know, now most of my decks in Fab, I'm putting in like 20, 21 blues. And it's just nice that because of Belittle, we get to cheat. And then I think the non-attack action ratio was about 26 or 27. And then the attack ratio was about 30, 33. And then the 3 Art of Wars to kind of round out the 60 there. So we definitely want to keep the same ratio. So if we're taking out an attack, we need to put an attack in its place. If we're taking out a non-attack, we need to put a non-attack in its place. And if we're taking out a blood debt, we need to put a blood debt in its place, or, you know, maybe put more blood debt in. That's kind of that's the other balance of Chane, is figuring out, do I want power cards or do I want blood debt for consistency? Because when you draw the hand of bounding, seeds, it doesn't do a lot, and it doesn't feel very powerful. Especially if that's the first couple hands of the game where your shackles haven't really started going yet, and there's kind of like, you're just like, okay, I'll play Seeds, I'll make a Rune Chant with Grasp, maybe, like, you know, Rosetta Thorn. It's not awful, but it's definitely not the power plays that we want. But if you're in the other situation and you full blocked and then you hit boundings and Seeds and you're like, I get to play all this for free, it's really great. So it's kind of we just gotta figure out the give and take. So let's just go ahead. Seeds. I don't think we play red seeds, but blue seeds, I think we do play. Now here's the hard part. We got 2 amazing blues in Blue Captain's Call and Mauvrion Skies. And I almost feel like they're integral to the Chane deck at this point. And then of course you have the Minnowisms too that you just have to play because you're playing the little package, of course. But it's like, are we gonna cut one of these amazing blues to fill in that gap? And the answer is absolutely. So we're gonna put this in maybe. Put that right there. And I think the blue Seeds of Agony is just kind of a no-brainer. It's free. You play so many boundings, you're always gonna get the attack off, and Shadowverser also hits it as well. You play, and it just makes casting Eclipse so much easier, pitching these to the bottom, and then eventually they'll come back in your second cycle, and you'll just be able to make Ursa and absolutely go off and hit for a ton of damage. So, but we also have to remember that we're cutting a great card in Captain's Call Blue. You know, this go again's very important. But the good thing is with creepers that we kind of get to cheat out the go again too. Then the question is yellow seeds. Now this is even one that I'm kind of like, should we? Because it just seems so free. It seems so good. You know, 1 arcane is good. Playing it for free, amazing. But it is taking up a slot of like a yellow Captain's Call right here, which yellow Captain's Call is also amazing. But for the sake of this video, we are definitely going to put in the deck. Because I think it definitely needs to be explored, and I think it's probably going to be very good because free cards is free cards, and this is a non-attack which turns on our entire deck and does exactly what we want. And the only issue is this doesn't give go again. Creepers gives you go again if you play it, but you have to do arcane damage. The great thing about it is this is an important tip right here. If you don't take anything else from this stream, take this. You can target yourself with the arcane damage. So when you play this, if you're playing in against like a Fatigue Starvo or a Fatigue Prism, and they have their arcane barrier ready, and they just want to, they're just like, as soon as you let me, I'm going to, especially with Starvo, because if he has the Crown of Seeds and then AB1, he'll save the Crown of Seeds to block your Rosetta Thorn, so you won't leak in arcane damage. With Rosetta as well, you can target yourself with the arcane to keep your creepers alive for additional turns to set up bigger cycles. And that's so important in fatigue matches because they're expecting you to only have 1 big creepers turn. They want you to save it for that end game scenario where you're casting your Ursa, your Eclipse, and everything out on the same turn. But with this method, Rosetta deals 2. You can put 2 bind counters on creepers before it breaks. So ideally, you can have up to 3 huge creepers turns before you even have to worry about arcane, dealing them arcane damage. Then on the last turn when it's at 2, go ahead, send your Rosetta and your Seeds at them, and if they can block that all, then good on them. But it's gonna be hard. It's definitely gonna be hard. So, and with that said, I think the Howl from Beyond, it's a maybe. And the Nimblisms, they're good, but I'm not gonna put these in over Seeds of Agony. So I love Nimblism, but I think it's just, you can't play it. Howl from Beyond, another card where it's like, it's so good. Siblings and Cardboard, what's up, Seb? What's up? If that's Donnie on there, hey Donnie. I'm glad you're in here. Hopefully you're enjoying me lecturing people on Chane, but but we're having fun. So, Howl from Beyond, I don't think it even makes the cut because you have the seeds. It's so easy to cast Eclipse now. We don't need it. That's out. Maybe it will come back as a one of, but it's out. Then a consistency thing. We can go ahead. We just cut 3 non-attacks. I don't know if you noticed that. So the 3 non-attacks we cut were the 2 Nimblism and the 1 Howl from Beyond. Put Seeds of Agony in there. So not only did we replace a Blood Deck card with a Blood Deck card and replace 3 non-attack actions with 3 non-attack actions, we actually upped our Blood Deck count as well, which is awesome. Which is what we want to be doing. Now Captain's Call Yellow. I think it's got to stay. I think it's just too good of a card to leave out unless we find out the deck is so hyper consistent that Captain's Call Yellow isn't even needed. That's the only foreseeable way I would say that we cut this out for Revel or something of that nature, where it's like a more power card than a consistency card. But this is so consistent. You give everything in your deck, go again, or +2, or you cheat out with creepers and you get both effects. And then I think now we're on to attacks. Well, I guess we can talk about red seeds. So I'm leaving red seeds out. I think in a red spot, it doesn't, it can't pitch well. It doesn't pitch to the bottom well to set up second cycle. And I just don't think it's necessary. When you have so many good cards like Shadow Puppetry in the red spot, like that yellow Captain's Call that's in over that red seeds, the belittles searching out the Minnowisms that you desperately, that's just like the whole game right there. I don't think it's necessary. And 2 block, I mean, that's normal for a Runeblade non-attacks, but 1 Arcane on a red, it plays for free. But I think with 6 non-attacks that get to be played for free from Banished, we don't really need it. So then we're going to attack actions. So we can go here, look up Runeblade attacks, and kind of see what we're working with here. Class type, attack. Search that up. Runeblade. Kind of see what, if anything else, like catches our eye. There is one card that I do want to talk about that is Considerations, and that card's right here, and then it has a counterpart somewhere. I might have missed it. I'm looking for the card that basically takes another card out of your opponent's hand if you have made an aura. It's right here, Reek of Corruption. It's been so long, I forgot the name. Never thought I will see Skullcap in the main deck again. Don't worry, that's gonna get changed out. We're definitely putting Crown of Providence in there. But I did want to bring up an argument for Skullcap. But I'm filtering a card so powerful. We're definitely changing that out. But Reek of Corruption, this is an interesting card. I don't know. There, that way you can see it. So if you play or create an aura this turn, Reek of Corruption gains. When this hits a hero, they discard a card. I just wanted to bring this up because it was a card that I played as a 2 of back in the Starvo days, back in the OTK Vis days. Just because it's a card that forces interaction. It doesn't really fit with the cost curve, but sometimes it was just so worth it to force them to do something. That felt really good. Felt good at the time. It's 4 attack though. It's not really popping up on the screen for y'all, but there it goes. 4 attack, which is kind of underrated. But the great thing is, unlike Consuming Volition, because you're like, why would you not just play Consuming Volition at that point? It's not conditional discard, because this is a 1 for 4. If you have dealt arcane damage this turn, consuming volition. If this hits a hero, discard a card. Cool thing about this, though, remember, kind of like we were talking about the Seeds of Agony, you can target yourself. Then we have Donnie. I missed the first part of the stream. Are we updating the old Chane deck to Living Legend? Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking my Pro Tour New Jersey Chane deck, Pro Quest 2 season era, so the last Chane deck that was legal and classic constructed before it got Living Legend rotated out of the format, and we're keeping those ratios because I think that this deck was perfectly built ratio wise. It felt super good, super consistent. I made day 2 of the Pro Tour with it. I didn't have a super great finish of the Pro Tour, but it did get to day 2 of the Pro Tour, and just basically seeing what we can do to update it, talking about certain cards and different things that we can do, you know, just talking about we kind of opened it up talking about the meta of Living Legend, what do we expect to see, and then as I'm getting more into it, we'll talk about specific matchups. And that's kind of like great segue. And you're asking, why would you play Consuming Volition? It's because like decks like Fi. Volition is a card I wanted to be good in Vinset so bad, but I couldn't make it work. I wanted Vinset to work so bad. It's just, she's so strapped for that go again. I think that's the main thing, the 1 banish per turn. But if you can get this card off, it is so powerful. It really is. Good stuff, dude. I appreciate it, Donnie. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, so this is a card that's great for targeting decks like Viscerai, decks like Fi, you know, decks like Starvo if they're going on the aggressive plan that want to keep every card in their hand. They're just like, no blocks, can you do more damage than me? And this card's saying, I can't necessarily do more damage than you in the first couple turns with some of the chain hands that you get, because if you draw like non-attack action, you know, 3 non-attack, you get Runeblade hands, you get hands without Belittle that, you know, it's just 2 blood deck cards that don't really do anything. They just kind of attack for on rate. But this is a card that forces some interaction, and you're like, please, you know, don't kill me. With Starvo, you know, they have to, like, even if they Crown of Seeds, they still have to give a 3 blocker some armor for this. For 5, they have to give some armor for this. So then that's another question. Is it worth it? Oh, I guess Lexi too. You know, you're forcing her to block, because I do think Lexi is going to be a big contender in Living Legend for sure. I saw that at that event that the Chane won, he played about 3 Lexis in that tournament. I don't know how many made top 8, but I know he played a good amount of Lexis. So that's definitely a deck in Living Legend that you're going to have to look out for. So it's just like, does this deserve a spot? And I think it's a maybe. And the question is, for these cards, do they beat Swarm and Gloomville? Because Swarm and Gloomville is offering a consistency. It's offering a good rate of 0 to 4. And then you're not really ever going to get the third effect, because you're guaranteed the 0 for 3 making the Shackle aura if you make a Rune Chant. So it's a good mana sink. Instead of for 2 mana just getting the 1 Rune Chant, you're getting 2 mana plus 1 on this. So you're kind of evening out the mana sink of Grasp of the Arcanite. But if you do that, then you are making a 0 for 4. And if you don't notice, that's kind of the overall theme why this Belittle Chane deck is so powerful, because you're playing this Belittle card, which says 3 or less base. But all your cards that come in that are 3 have potential to come in for 4. You know, like Bounding, like the yellow Bounding is coming, it's a 2, but it's coming in for 3. You know, the Riftbind coming in for base 3, but it's never really coming in for base 3. It's coming in for 4 or more. And Swarming's just another one of those cards that's, yeah, it says 3 on the bottom left, but it's not really a 0 for 3. It's a 0 for 4, and that's kind of the power of Chane, that you're cheating. You're cheating Belittle. Not only are you cheating everything else in value, you're cheating Belittle too. But I definitely think it's a maybe. And then just looking, is there any other thing that kind of catches our eye attack wise, rune blade attack wise, that would be really worth playing? Jack-o'-lantern, kind of have to have a red line. And I guess maybe a red line rune gate Chane might play that. Another card, Runic Reclamation, one of just the best poppers in the game. Gonna throw that in maybe for later, just talking about sideboard cards like maybe command, you know, what's better, Runic Reclamation or Command and Conquer. Just gonna throw that in the side. Another consideration, we'll just go ahead, throw the third Rebel in a maybe, because that's always a maybe. That card is so powerful. Meet and Greet's a card. I don't think it's good enough anymore. It could be, but I think there's just so much competing space. You know, you're competing for so much space. Are you beating Swarming Gloomville? I don't think Meet and Greet's necessarily beating Swarming Gloomville. Maybe make a value chain where you're throwing big attacks at them. But talking about this list in particular, I think the only other attack action, Rune Blade attack action I might throw in there is just yellow Riftbind, just because somebody told me Chane was awesome because he gets to play a lot of banned cards. That is the truth. He gets to play a lot of banned cards, and that's something that we haven't even got to yet. Wait, we get to play. You know what, Donnie? Thank you for bringing up banned cards, because I almost forgot about one of the best banned cards in Chane. Underrun. I totally blanked on this, that this was a card that we could play in this deck. Oh my goodness, that would have been awful if we just if I went through the whole video without even mentioning the man himself, Plunderrun. Wow. So that is definitely a card that Yellow Captain's Call might be getting cut for, or Yellow Seeds might be even getting cut for, because just like it's a powerhouse. It's just such a powerful card. You know what it's doing. We still have that spot where the two rebels were, and I think we can kind of just safely just say that that 2 Plunder Run just have to go in there, if not 3. I don't know if we can cut something else to put a 3rd Plunder Run in there, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's so hard to justify some of these non-attacks now that you have just such powerful cards in Chane, like Belittle, like Plunder Run, like Shadow Puppetry, like Seeds of Agony, even Captain's Call, which is just, you know, it was kind of like, it was put in the deck because Seeds of Agony left. I fell in love with that card, and I think it's so good in Chane. But yeah, Plunder Run, just an absolute powerhouse of a card. Wow. I can't believe I almost let that one slip my mind. But getting back to the attack actions, one of the attacks I did want to talk about, here we can just go ahead and throw blue plunders in the maybe as well, is this one right here. Give and Take. Which now this is a card that looks like it might be, I'm sorry, just trying to make it where y'all can see the entire card. There we go. Give and Take. Now this is a card that might be competing with Swarming Gloomvale, because it's got great qualities. 3 cost, 3 block. I mean, not 3 cost, 3 attack, 3 block, 1 cost, which fits the cost curve of the deck. It's not exactly as good as a 0, but it still fits the cost curve. I mean, we are playing a lot of cheap stuff like Boundings and stuff, so we could definitely fit it, you know, do turn where we fit it in. But whenever Give and Take is defended by an attack action, you may put an action card with cost less than Give and Take's attack from your graveyard on the top of your deck. So, you know, if they don't offend it, if, you know, you're in a fatigue scenario and they're trying to block you out, you're like, okay, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put a belittle right back on the top of my deck. You know, it's like, if you block this, I'm putting that belittle right back on the top of my deck, which is really powerful. And yeah, I mean, that in itself could be enough to just like auto include this card. Don't know if it is, but it's definitely got to be put in contention for the maybe slot for sure. Just looking, trying to think if there's, we can kind of just take a quick look at generics. Attack actions here. Where is it? Not attack reactions, actions. And actions, then generic. I just look at some stuff. Maybe there's something that pops out. I don't think there is. I think give and take's like the main one. Thinking of ban cards, is there a world where Chane uses stubby hammers? I literally know nothing about Chane, so is that a thing, or has it ever been a thing? Yes, Nani, that actually is a thing. I was saying earlier, the PTI event that a Chane just won, in the Swiss rounds, he played against a Duskblade Stubby Hammers Chane. He lost to it in Swiss, but beat it in top 8. So it's definitely a potential. And as we keep building this deck with less than three, it might get to that critical point where we're like, against this Fi deck, maybe we sacrifice that 3 block and put in the Stubby Hammers or something like that. But when we get to the equipment, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. But I think there's definitely a world where you do consider that, or maybe just send it and you do it. Down and dirty, just kind of not a card that you would probably play, but you know, just always just try and take in everything into consideration. Exude confidence. Just generically, Flock, old staple and Chane. We got enough go again with Spellbound Creepers where this just isn't necessary. If anything, it's a little bit slow now, especially in this format. Looking for a scrap. You know, it is a cool card. I just don't think we play enough to facilitate it because it's 1 or less. The only one is Bounding. Cool card though. I think, you know, Premeditate, good card, but we just don't play consistently enough from Arsenal, and Plunder Run is just a better version of that card. Tremor, Snatch, good value, but I don't think it's necessary. It's not kind of fitting the thing. Tremor, it was good back in the day. Shout out Tremor. Then we're kind of here at the reds where it's just kind of, you know, we'll go ahead, add that yellow belittle to the maybe slot as well. So I think for attack actions, we kind of got our maybes. You can go for a little bit more like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna make you interact with me a little bit more, like a Consuming Volition or a Reek of Corruption kind of style. Or you can go for a, you know, I don't want to get fatigued with the give and take. Or you can go for a just consistent Runeblade card in Swarming Gloomveil. That's just always going to be pretty good. I think for now, until we are proven otherwise, we're just going to leave in the Swarming in the deck. Is it too cute to put Revel plus Runegate cards in a controlling matchup? I think it's too cute to not build your whole deck around it. I don't think you can side into it, but I think there's definitely a world where Chane plays that in Living Legend, kind of like what we saw in the Blitz format with the Runegate Chane at the end of its life cycle. I think there could definitely be a space for that to kind of come in and just, you know, take everyone by storm. a little bit. I think this format, Living Legend, is going to be a lot like Legacy and Magic the Gathering, where it's played, but people don't, there's going to be a couple committed people, but there's not going to be a ton of innovation until the tournaments actually happen. And then this is going to be a format where if you do bring some innovation to the table, you could definitely just catch people off, off guard. And if you bring something off the wall that they're not expecting, you could just take down, spike a whole tournament, or at least spike a top 8 like that. But right now we're just building kind of the more baseline Chane deck and everything, kind of just going for a consistency, but little deck, which is, I think, is where you want to start with it. But I was definitely thinking about in future streams, maybe streaming some Vincent, because I actually haven't played any Vincent or anything like that in Classic Constructed really. And then once I learned that play style, kind of bring that into CC once I like get familiar with the lines of RuneGate and everything. See the watered down version, and then we see the powered up version in Chane, and kind of just go all out and Living Legend constructed with that. But I definitely think there's a world where that happens. But yeah, so I think Swarming Gloomville, that's a solid choice. And then I believe the other 2 cards we took out were E-Strike. This is another spot where it's like, hey, maybe you want to play those give and takes to be more consistent. Maybe you want to play the Consuming Volitions to have a little bit more, disruption, because we offer basically no disruption in the deck at all. We're just saying good numbers. And then E-Strike, the reason why E-Strike was mainly in the deck is because for fatigue matchups, and then also for the first couple turns of the game, where you don't really do much the first couple turns of the game because you don't have the shackles rolling yet. So like a turn 1 in Chane could just look like an Unhallowed Rites, make a rune chant Rosetta Thorn, something like that, like something really mediocre. But E-Strike kind of makes it where you kind of got some play to it. You kind of have play where you can actually have some damage on the first turn or 2 of the game, and against fatigue, just a 0, like a 2 card 7's good math. Jason, hey Seb, just want to stop by and say you're pretty. Thank you so much, Jason. It's always, I think I might be up for some RTNs in Tennessee, so I might be seeing you soon here. Then Donnie said, come out on Tuesday, you can borrow my Vincent deck. I'll make sure to keep it in my bag. I'm actually coming out on Tuesdays. I think I switched my schedule, so I will be coming out on Tuesdays again. I want to play more. Just in general, kind of come out for the community. It's kind of like one of my goals for 2024. So I think I'll be out there this Tuesday. I might take you up on that, actually. Kind of lost my train of thought there, but we kind of have the E-Strike slot where it's like, what else could we be doing? I don't know. That's kind of a tough one, where it's like, we could just go for Consuming, try to be cute with it. We could just go for consistency of E-Strike. And then, or we could just go for hyper consistency. Well, I guess power of E-Strike, and then hyper consistency with the give and take. That is an interesting one. I guess I kind of have to make a decision. I'm gonna go with E-Strike for now. Or you know what? I think I might want to play around with Consuming, actually. Y'all have anything? Maybe you want to see one more than the other in chat. I'll give that a second, see if anyone wants to maybe play around with a more unique card. But I'm thinking Consuming, just because, you know what? Fi doesn't want to block this card, but they have armor anyway, so they probably can disrespect this anyway. I don't know. Maybe you get one card out of them. Viscerai probably doesn't want to deal with this card, but he's got armor anyway. But at that point, you're getting free armor block on a card. which is nice. Yeah, I don't know, but we're gonna go with consuming, because it's a fun card, and that's what streaming's for, is to try things out and have fun. But yeah, then it's like, do we want to play a third plunder run? I think we do. I think we're cutting a yellow captain's call for sure, for that plunder run, because it's just so powerful. It's just so powerful. And then voila, we have a main deck. I think this is a pretty solid. Let me see if I can maybe get the view better. It's a way. I think that's the best way. I'll do an overall snapshot of the deck, but I guess now it would be equipment. Let's talk about that. We definitely have some equipment choices, and it's like, I remember someone said, why is Skullcap in there? It's not supposed to be in there. But I did want to just bring up an argument that's just like, one life is one life, potentially against Fi, which is, I expect Fi to kind of be like the mono burn, the mono red burn of Living Legend format, where it's the cheapest deck to get into Living Legend format. It's a powerful deck. It's doing a linear thing. And it's also a good classic constructed deck, so if you make that investment, you can just immediately get returns on that by having a classic constructed deck. But so is the one life maybe worth it there? Also has some arcane barrier, but that effect is not really ever coming into play. I think, you know, sinking a card with Crown of Providence is always going to just be worth it, but I just did want to bring that up just in case, you know, people were kind of had that thought in their mind, because I definitely had that thought. But yeah, Crown, I think there's just going to be too many situations where it's like, if this was a non-attack action, if this was a blue in my hand, if this was, you know, if I traded this out for something else, you know, maybe it's in a game state where you're like, I have to draw an Art of War, I lose here, something like that. I think Crown is just going to be overall better. Plus, it's not conditional. You know, Arcanite Skullcap is conditional. You have to be at less life to use it. This is always just going to be a solid 2 block. Everything else, pretty much staple. Like, Carrying Husk, I think in a vacuum, Carrying Husk is just the best value card in the game. You know, like, it sits there for free and you get to block 6. It blocks a Command and Conquer. It blocks a detrimental Guardian on hit effect. It stops 6 damage. It's just too good. It's crazy. Grasp of the Arcanite. Now, this is the thing where, you know, you can talk about that Stubby Hammers build. I don't think we're going to go Stubbies this time around, though. We're just going to go Grasp because it blocks 3. It's a mana sink. It's a good card. I also think one of the best equipment in the game. The next best equipment in the game. It's like Runeblade, all the best equipment in the game. It's kind of funny, but Rosetta Thorn, another one where it's like, you could play Duskblade. Why not play Duskblade? Because we want to be aggressive. If we're being more grindy, there's an argument for Skullcap. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If, I think there's definitely a situation where Skullcap could be good, but Crown of Providence is just so consistent, and it does so much for your deck. Then we have Rosetta Thorn, which you could play Duskblade, but kind of the math on Rosetta Thorn is just better than Duskblade, if you think about it. Because Duskblade, if you're playing against a control deck, which is where Duskblade shines, right? You have to set it up for about, I think the math was 4 turns to get the investment back, to get equal value to a Rosetta. Then on the 5th and 6th turn, that's when you're starting to get more value than Rosetta. But that forces you into a line of play where if they do have a, you know, like a usual turn that these fatigue decks will do is, at some point in the game, they'll set up like a Command and Conquer pummel with a blue and a Tunic counter. 3 card, big play. And the question is that on that turn, are you just going to eat a Command and Conquer pummel and not block 10 because you have to keep that Duskblade active? you know, you get thrown into bad situations with the Duskblade. In theory, I could just be overthinking it a little bit, but my thought in my head is you don't necessarily want to be forced into a bad situation. It takes a while to get to that math point. It's an extra deck slot because you will still have to play the Rosetta Thorn to get to that against aggro decks. You're always going to have to play Rosetta Thorn against aggro decks because you're not going to get to the point where Duskblade is value. And then the whole other thing is, well, what about fatigue? It's really good in fatigue. Like I said, with creepers, you can target yourself with the arcane. So I think that makes Rosetta Thorn even better. Targeting yourself with the arcane, keeping creepers around for as long as you want, because there's certain game states where I've been where I used creepers once, I pinged myself every single turn for 3 turns in a row till I got to my pitch stack to my big Ursa turn, and then I just started targeting the arcane at them because I didn't need the creepers anymore. But the fact that I could have that mid-game big Art of War creepers turn is what changed the landscape of that fatigue game. So I don't think it's necessary. And then creepers, man, that card's just too good. Like, I don't know. They kind of gave us a wizard equipment and snapdragons and a block 1 on it. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what they were doing with Runeblade in the first couple sets, but it was definitely, it's definitely not like how it is now. So I think the equipment's good, and now we're gonna get into the inventory, the sideboard. So with the sideboard, I did make some changes at the beginning. I said that we were playing AB3, but the easy changes, instead of no rune hood and no rune robe and crown of dichotomy, that's the one. All these, it's been a while, guys, since I played Chane, so you gotta give me a break here on the these Runeblade card names. I've been playing a lot of Dash Lexi in the past year and Bravo, so it's kind of like going back. But it's an easy swap. Take out the no rune robe, put in the Diapatic Carapace, and then take out the Crown of Dichotomy, put in the Spell Void 2. Your Kano matchup, I don't know if you can lose. Like, unless they just absolutely high roll you out of Oblivion. Also, because of your fatigue, you play extra blues too, so you can swap in some of your blues. So that matchup should be very, very favored for us, and I don't see a world where that's a bad matchup. Unless some support gets printed in the future, and it kind of just changes everything. But you're good with Kano with that. And I think Kano is going to be a big enough share if you're going to like an open Living Legend tournament, like something like the Battle Hardened at Pro Tour. If you're planning on going to that tournament, then it's like you're probably going to see a Kano. Or there is going to be at least a few Kano in the room. Because I know at the top tables at Barcelona Living Legend tournament, there was a few Kanos running around. So you don't want to be that guy who gets got. But maybe at a local armory or something like that, you could get away with making these 2 slots into something else. Just keeping the Vexing Quillhand for the Runeblade mirrors. Like Viscerai and Briar. Because you always just need to kind of be strapped up. Just be ready. And so then we kind of go into the actual decision points of the sideboard, where it's Command and Conquer being our main popper. And the question is, do we need to trade that in for something like a Down and Dirty or like a Runic Reclamation? Here, let me try to get the full card Runic on there for y'all. Thank you. Don't get caught by the AB checker. What a handsome man. And then there's Seb. Yeah, Chane is definitely more handsome than me. It's because I lost the hair. That's what it was. I had the one up on Chane until then. But the Runic Reclamation, it's a good card because it actually has an on-hit effect. It's a 7, too importantly. So against Prism, those Herald of Triumphs, you just say no. Or the Parable of Humility, I believe it is, that minuses 1 to all your attack actions. It definitely makes for a better popper, for sure. And also, it kind of has some play into Viscera as well, where you can, or the Runeblade Mirror, like, you could play it into Chane. I don't know if you would, but hey, it blows up a Shackle. It definitely does that. It blows up a Rune Chant, and you get to create a Rune Chant. It's an on-hit effect against Briar. It blows up a Channel Mount Heroic. Against Viscera, it can also hit the, what is the aura they play? Incantation. It can blow up an Incantation, so it's an actual decent hit effect. Yeah, Runic is sick in an Illusionist meta for sure. It definitely is. But Command and Conquer is Command and Conquer. Like, it's always gonna be Command and Conquer. The power of that. I used it against Bravo. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a great card. It's a great value. Seismic Surge gone. That's true. That's true. And you're like, nope, no 3-card Crippling Crush for you. But Command and Conquer is Command and Conquer against these decks like Fi, like Viscera. Not Starvo, because he has the Crown of Seeds. Like Prism, if you have to play your popper, it is interesting because it's a great card to play. But I don't know. I think what I'm gonna do is toy around with the Runic. Put that in the maybe. And I think Runic is going to take the cake just because of the utility of the card. Command and Conquer is Command and Conquer. But Runic is just, it's a better popper. The matchups where Command and Conquer hurts, like Chain Mirrors, like Viscera. The one main thing is Fi definitely gets hurt more by Command and Conquer than Runic. But the other thing is you're getting the trade-off that Bravo doesn't even care, star of the show that is, doesn't even care about Command and Conquer because he's just going to sink his arsenal with Crown of Seeds anyway, so that card is just a 6. So you're not playing it against him. But this is definitely a card that you could. Yep, and great point, and you can give it Go Again as well. So we are definitely going to just shove that into the sideboard. And I think that's a solid. And then I think the last kind of card that we need to toy around with in this list before we kind of go into a game here is this Howl from Beyond. Now that we have the 6 Seeds of Agony, that was kind of the point of Howl from Beyond. When we're fat decking to get to that critical mass of Blood Debt, non-attacks that we can pitch for Eclipse later in the game, we already have those built into the deck now. So now this is an interesting spot because when we're fat decking, it almost brings us to a point where we don't even need that spot to be in the deck. Because with Seeds of Agony and the Runics and the Inverts, I think you have way more than enough gas to, with a 67 card deck, to beat Fatigue. Honestly, I think with a 60 card deck, if someone played Control Starvo and was just like, hey, figure out how to kill me, this deck could do it. This deck could do it. But then you add in the Invert Existence and you have the seeds in there to make it easier. I think it's just too good. So we don't need that at all. But now the question is, what do we put in that spot? Like I said, I don't think we necessarily need something for Fatigue. So this can kind of just be a spot for anything. It can be armor, it could be, that's like if we want to throw a Stubby Hammers in, it could be that. I don't know. I almost want to toy around with stubby hammers just for Fi. Like, kind of just keep that strapped up there. If I play the mirror match or Fi, just kind of have that at the ready. And that's what exactly what I'm gonna do. It's like, we're gonna try that stubby hammers out, because why not? Now we got a spot left. It can kind of be anything. We can kind of cut a time snap potion if we really want to put a card in there. Any D-react. So it's an interesting thing, D-reacts, because the main D-react I would want to play is just I think it would just really be unmovable for Starvo. But I actually suspect that they are going to move away from a casino build and move towards a control build. And then in the control games, those D-reacts don't feel great, to be honest with you. And even against the casino deck, they only have so many big attacks now that they can hit. Now, notably, they do have all their Spinal Crushes, and then they have one copy of Okinold, Star of the Show, Crippling. And then, of course, they have the Awakening, which is also a big deal as well, because they can probably pull out like a Pulverize or something like that from their deck for free. I don't know if it's necessary for the D-reacts. I don't know if the Starvos are going to play that way. But that is an easy consideration to make. And that is interesting because definitely not a bad card. Maybe we do throw some D-reacts in there. I don't know. It's also weird right now because the meta is so open, it's so unexplored. You kind of don't know which direction everyone's building. Like, for example, if I run into a Starvo, I just have to assume he's going to fatigue me. Even if he's going to go aggro, I have to assume that he's going to fatigue me because, you know, you just don't know which direction the decks are getting built in. I'm kind of tempted. Cut a time snap potion, or cut maybe a runic here. Put in 2 Command and Conquer. Oh wait, inventory, my bad. Kind of just have an extra popper. It kind of plays better into that whole thing that we're talking about, like in certain matchups, what's going to be better. I kind of like that. I think D-reacts are a consideration, but right now I'm just going to make that a popper because I do expect Prism to be popular just because it's a fan favorite. It's a fan favorite deck, and you're going to see it around. Too many people spent too much money to not get some mileage with it. So these maybes doesn't count against your deck limit. Cool. Yeah, but I think we have a solid deck here, and I think this is... It's time to go into Talishar with this. I'm ready. Are y'all ready? I think we kind of got... Oh, here, let me just give everyone an overview of everything real quick. I'll just slowly scroll. But I think it's solidly built. I think we kind of have everything we want. The ratios are good. We kept the same ratios as last time. We put the power cards in. We considered some new cards. You know, we put the plunder runs in, which I almost forgot about, which I'm glad Donnie pointed that out. That ban cards for ban cards are good. And then we're trying some new stuff. We got more poppers. We're putting the runics in. We got the stubbies. I like it. I like it. So let's go ahead. See if anyone's got an open game. Nope. So we might be waiting for a second. Let's go ahead. Do that. LL. Just put LLCC. Living Legend, Classic Constructed. Looks a little bit wonky just because I got the screen a little bit minimized just so it looks better on YouTube for y'all. But when it gets into the actual Talshard game, it will look nice. But might be waiting for a second. But of course, if anyone in the chat, if y'all have an LL deck that you want to throw up and hop in this game, go ahead as well too. You know, I don't know how many people are openly looking for LL games. That's why I did make such an emphasis on the deck building aspect of this stream, just because even if we can't get a game right away, there's still a lot of knowledge that, you know, we talked about and a lot of things that you can take from this stream, and especially if someone's rewatching this back. But hopefully we get someone here in a moment. But in the meantime, since we're all here anyway, how's everyone's day going? How's everyone's new year? Is everyone keeping up with their goals and everything that they set for the new year? I definitely am. I kind of realized at the beginning of this year that the gym won't find you. You have to find the gym. So I started health. I'm at work, or I would. I know you would, Donnie, but I appreciate it. But yeah, I started some health, and I realized that I read this book called Your Body is the Mountain, and the whole point of the book is the only person holding you back is yourself. And that's an important lesson. I think a lot of people, you know, if you have goals, or whether that's cards, business, you know, tournaments, school, life, family goals, health goals, the only person stopping you from making efforts towards those goals is yourself. And that's why we're out here doing this. And it's important to just, you know, have some accountability and keep yourself on the grind and making sure that you're getting things done. Just sitting here waiting. But, you know, while we have some open air here, I guess this is where my personality is supposed to shine through a little bit. We can kind of talk about overall, like, is everyone excited just about the game in general right now? You know, we have so much coming up, you know, with heavy hitters. We have the calling coming up, pre-releases, Road to Nationals right after that, then a Pro Tour right after that, and then Nationals right like then a Battle Hard in Atlanta in April. And if anyone's going to that, I will be there. LO's basically dead to me after I built Icelander. Banlist had other plans. No. Just take those 4 cards that you can take from Icelander and put them in Kano and build a Kano. Excited for the PT, Thomas. I'm so excited that for the PT as well. You know, I'm just excited for all of it to, you know, figure out the sealed format, then figure out the draft format, then figure out this constructed format, all right back to back, and so many tournaments happening at once, and then a Pro Tour happening. I'm going to the Calling Hartford as well, if anyone's going to that. About UPF arena format with heavy hitters. That is also a lot of fun. And Donnie, you're going to have to teach me the ways of that and some more UPF knowledge, because I really wanted to finish that game that we started up a couple weeks back. Oh yeah, BTLA, of course, is going to be fun. I mean, even if you're looking at it from a viewing perspective, it's cool I don't know, this is kind of a discussion point too. Do you guys like open formats or kind of new formats when you're going to for these pro tours and stuff, and for these nationals and worlds? Because it's kind of interesting how the way the schedule is set up is that the pro tour is going to be after road and at season, so we're going to have some great data on what decks are good and what the meta is, and then someone's going to have to either tackle that meta in a surprise factor, or you're going to have to just, you know, play the best deck and play it the best, or find some other way. Or, you know, maybe that's where you play a deck that you're like, this is the best deck, I'm gonna go 6-0 in draft, and I hope to go 5-3 in constructed. I'd rather have a known format I can play for. Yes, I'm in agreement. As a player, I do like having a format that's known. You have time to get reps with the hero. I think for the viewing side of things, people like the aspect of a new format, and that's what Nationals is going to be. How they have it set up, where Nationals, US Nats at least, I think, is happening like a week or two after the newest set drops in July, I believe, or June, I believe that's when Nationals. So there's definitely going to be some opportunities for new formats to be played, but I do, for myself speaking, like a known format that I can kind of either try to tackle the meta in a unique way with a unique build or deck, or tech for mirror matches if there's like a best deck, or, you know, just it's just, you know what to expect. But I get it from a viewing standpoint, why sometimes new formats are so fun to watch. Like, for example, the Calling Hartford, the Battle Harden is going to be amazing to watch. Hopefully I'm in day 2 of the Calling. Hopefully I'm not playing in the Battle Harden, but, you know, hopefully I'm in day 2 of the Calling, looking at the top tables of the Battle Harden going, oh yeah, man, I can't believe that X deck, Victor's doing well. And that's where I want to be for that one. Uprising Vegas premiere was a really fun event. It was so fun. And kind of jealous of the people in Queenstown who get to go to that and experience that themselves. I think I actually wasn't. Wait, was I at the? I was at the Tales of Aria premiere. I wasn't at the Uprising one. Having the opportunity to play fresh in person is super fun. Agreed. I couldn't agree more. Where it's like, looking at the cards when they first come out, no spoilers have even released yet, and you gotta figure something out on the fly. It's super cool. The Calling Hartford is kind of like in a weird spot because you have the Queenstown Calling, so that's gonna be live streamed, so you're gonna know the full set. You're gonna have the pre-releases to play with, so you're gonna know what kind of like get a feel for the cards are doing, but it's still technically day 1 of the set being released, so it's definitely interesting. But by that fact, it's a known quantity what the good strategies are. People have formulated some strategies up, versus something like a world premiere where just nobody knows what's happening. I remember playing the Tales of Aria one, and it was just so fun. You should have been, I think everyone should have been playing Briar, but I pulled a Winter's Wail out of my sealed pool and Coalfoil one, and played a sick little Oldham deck, just a value Guardian deck. And it was super fun. I think I went like X1 or X2 in that, and it was just a good time. I just remember losing in the last round. I think I was undefeated, and then the last round, homeboy, funny story here. I'm playing against a guy playing Briar, and homeboy has like 9 ball lightnings in his deck, and he has like just a crazy sealed pool. And as he's playing everything, I'm just like, so you're telling me you opened up 9 ball lightnings? And he's like, and he was just like silent about it. I'm like, okay, I see what happened here. You just like took your friend's sealed pool and just started playing. Like, we're just playing for tickets, so no competitive anything on the line. It's just like, bro, why you gotta cheat in a in a world premiere tournament? Because his deck was just like, I asked him, I'm like, how many of your friends helped you with this deck? And he said nothing. He just looks so guilty. But again, I don't know if you guys, we've been waiting for a second here. If anyone has a Living Legend deck built, Starvo, Prism, anything, play Kano, you know, let's see some of that. Bring your CC Kano deck into Living Legend. And you just want to try something out, you know, hop in this game. It's a public game room. But I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I have, okay, make sure it's that. LCC. CC. No, not that. There we go. Let's make sure. Just make sure that everything's good. So we can see the full screen. Let me. It's at 100. Yeah, it's just with this, it will look good once we get into a game. It's just on the Tau Shard loading screen. It's gonna look a little wonky. It's gonna look a little wonky. But then once we get into the deck and everything, it will look good. And into the game, it will look great. It's just the way I have the screen right now, so it all fits on there when we actually get into a game. It looks like we got a Dromai. Okay, interesting. Someone throwing up the Dromai deck. This is going to be a pretty good card. Invert. Now the thing is, do we respect the fatigue though? I think the answer is yes. I think you kind of just have to. We could just fat deck it 68 cards and say, let's go. Do we need a block really? I don't think Dromai is going to throw too much at us that we need a block. We can try out that Stubby Hammers. I think we're good. Now we're in a game. And I'm just making sure that it looks right on the screen for y'all if I need to change anything real quick. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Great, so we can make a shackle. And we are going to pass priority. He's going to let us just pass that priority. We're going to arsenal that. Got the popper in hand, we're ready. I think that's the only way Dromai wins is fatigue, yeah. It has to be. Oh, and he said, you thought. You thought you were going to do something. Okay. Asfly has 2 health, so luckily a Rosetta cleans that up pretty nicely. I don't know. That's kind of a tough one there. See, I want to just go Minnowism, Pitch, Shackle, Unhallowed Rites into face, clean up the Asfly with Rosetta, but Minnowism does not affect the Unhallowed Rites, so that's kind of a crappy thing. I think we don't need the Command and Conquer at that point. And I don't know, we still might just do that play even though it doesn't think we're gonna do that play, but we're not playing the middle wisdom out. We're just taking it easy here. A shackle. That. Throw the Rosetta Thorn at their face. Try to get a couple damage in. Wave. Gonna stop that. Arsenal that. Wait for something like this to happen. Wait for like this. Lost in thought. Gonna just go ahead, rip that Belittle probably out of our hand. No reason not to. Yep. Flame Scale. Rake. And we're taking this. So, I've not hit anything yet. It's fine. Yeah, this is where the Grasp of the Arcanine definitely would be nice as a 2-mana sink, where we could just have this, like, nice little turn. We'll go ahead and play that one out because they know about it. We'll schmackle. We will send 6 at their face. Uprising Vegas was amazing. Was my first event. Been hooked since. I was hooked already on Fab before that, but definitely that just like instilled everything for me. That how amazing that event was. Then here we're gonna do the oh wait, do we need to actually change layer the priority here? I think for the it might, I don't know if it will let us like that. Okay, so it's just shooting right at him. But I think if we wanted to target ourselves, we would have to enable some kind of priority, which is important. Oh, because they blow it up with Big Dragon. So in a longer game, you get limited use. Okay, that's a good point. Great point there. That, do we really care about? I don't think so. I mean, our hand is... Change that up. Go ahead, stop that. Get rid of one of those Ash Wings. Furnace, it's fine. Got a Bounding, cool. Doesn't have any AB, so we are just going to be murking him with these creepers. Use those, play out that. You feel kind of naked. You do feel naked. Absolutely. And I don't think those Ash Wings are really doing much to us. Like, it's nice to clean them up, but I don't know. I kind of just want to go face. Just used to having my arms and we feel nice and protected. Yeah. Definitely just like feeling nice and protected. Here. So think about the turn. We need to pitch one of these. Shadow of Ursa is a good card to play though. I don't know. I think we just block the blue Bounding. Kind of have enough as it is. Or maybe we wait for the next one. Ashwing's AB. Good point, good point. Good to keep in mind, because they can, with that AB2, they could definitely stop our creepers on our Rosetta. Kyloria. Don't want them to draw. See, this is where the grasp would be nice. So sad. I don't feel like we're using Husk on this. Probably maybe a Crown of Providence, get rid of this bounding just because it's not doing much. Just kind of was left over from last hand. Block with a Shadow of Ursa. Stop the draw. Potentially. Arsenal. It's fine. Probably gonna... We hit. Okay, that's good. Perfect, actually. This Belittle's lining up perfectly into that Kyloria. We want to get a... We have an Unhallowed Right, so we can definitely play that. We can do something like play out the Minnowism, Shadow Verser, for 5, and then clean it up with the Rosetta Thorn, saving the Unhallowed Right. We could also, I think we're just a little bit short for creepers though, because we would need 3 to kind of play out the Minnowism, that, the Unhallowed Rights, and the Rosetta. So I think I'm just happy with doing this, presenting some damage. Oasis, what is he choosing? Gain 1. And we will kill the Ashwing. Chromai, we're just eating that because hand ain't looking too hot. Hopefully this is where the banishes start picking up. So we got a Seeds, which is nice because we have a kind of a cutesy way of getting out this Unhallowed Rights. Would have liked another attack here though. Definitely want to Arsenal either. We could Art of War, getting rid of the Belittle, but I think it might just be better to save it. Kind of tough. I mean, just play that out because it's free. Unlocks our Unhallowed Rights. Keeps around our creepers. Let's see what he does on this first one here. Put that at the bottom of our deck in case fatigue's a thing. This game. And then we can send the belittle if we want. Yep, so fatigue is definitely gonna most likely be a thing in this game. Play that. Play that into that. We'll clean up that last Ashwing. Our Arcane to keep our creepers alive, and we're on to a better turn. Tome, okay. Kind of got the board cleared, but now he's just having a tome turn to Yo, Emery, what's up, bro? Glad to have you in here. Just playing some LL against a not LL deck yet, so interesting for sure. Yeah, I'm happy to be streaming. You know, I was talking to in the chat earlier, but you know, it's just good to finally be like doing some of the things I wanted to with my goals. And I think that's just a snap block at this point. With a 5-card Art of War hand, a bunch of shackles, our hand doesn't block well. Kind of like let's just use it there. We're gonna take some blood debt, but the name of the game is not us dying, it's us fatiguing ourselves at this point. Got 3 blood debt. Looks like we have the husk, the unhallowed rites, and the bounding. That's why I was okay basically just using that Seeds of Agony last turn for just a 1 value, because I knew as soon as we get our unhallowed rites back, we'll be putting that to the bottom of the deck again. So we got some lines. We can play out everything. We can give it +1. Shadow Rune Blades, okay. Let's start with this, I suppose. Go ahead, throw that. If it hits, so it's kind of the same thing either way. Throw that at him. Hopefully we got a 3 block here, and then we... Is this a stubby turn? It was a stubby turn. You are correct. We will stubby after this. It's definitely a stubby turn if I've seen it. Buff your attacks. Banish. Draw 2. Submit. Banish that. Cool. We got another invert and a popper. We're getting that. Let's go ahead. Donnie again with the clutch. So we can shackle. Let's go ahead and creepers though. Creepers that. Lay that out. That blue bounding demigon's pretty big right now, if I say so. Oh man, this is perfect. So then we have 1 for Rosetta, and then we hit him with the Runic Reclamation. No reaction from us. here. Go ahead, kill the Kyluria. End it all off with this big boy for 8. These auras? No, they're tokens ash. Okay. Would have been cool if they were auras, but we'll make do. Now this is interesting because I think we should be seeing some seeds coming up here soon. We have the Vexing Malice to keep the creepers alive, if anything, if that is the only way we can keep them alive. So as much as I want to block this, maybe I'll block 3 on it because we are probably going to be stripped for action points. Throw a Rift Bind on it. I'll let him get the value. That's fine. Because we can still keep our creepers. If there was like no way to keep the creepers, like no non-attacks or anything, might be different for me. And then yeah, exactly. Here's what I'm talking about, where it's like, and is this the Eclipse turn? I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End it off with a. So we go 1, 2, 3, shackle, action point, last attack. And I think we got it. So we are going to go. Now, don't get ahead of ourselves and play our last one, but I almost did. Admittedly. And attack you. That pitch that one. Okay, that instant speed. Great podcast. Full screen. So if I go on full screen, I think it messes it up on your end. I'll try it. Just going to see how that looks on your end real quick. 2 action points. Use that. Yeah, see that it doesn't work. It's just the size of my monitor is just not that good for OBS, the software. So it's a little annoying, but at least this way you can see everything on the field. Go ahead, cast that Eclipse. We cannot play it this turn, but we sure are getting it out there. Lost in thought, not gonna matter here. Then at this point, so if we wanted to wait another turn, we could have done like the Rift Bind combo, but it was just not necessary. I think we'll start the starter off like this right here. Do that. Oh, need to undo that. My bad. Choose that. let them know that we apologize. Head, do that. Throw that. Schmackle. Rift bind. 4. We have 2 action points, so we can Urser. And then the Rosetta's just gonna clean this game up. Just chain things, yep, exactly. Two and 2 here. Good game. Thank you for the game. It's a little bit small on my screen, so I can't see that, but I do appreciate them for the game. And I am just going to take a quick break real quick. Probably 2 minutes. Just get some water real quick. And then we'll hop right into the next one, alright? Just 1 second, y'all. And I'm right back on. Just took a second break right there. Sorry about that. We can go ahead, change this real quick though. And the first time I'm ever doing this, put a win on the board. There we go. And now we will hop into 1 or 2 more games here, and then I will let everyone get about their Sunday afternoon. Not join game. Let's go. Chane. Oh, appreciate you stopping in, Donnie, and staying for as long as you did, man. And of course, you know, the VOD's going to be up, so if you want to check this last game or 2 that we got going here, definitely check it out later. But appreciate you being in here and helping out with everything. Reminding me of a couple, a Plunder Run and a Break Stubby Hammers. All right. And let's go LLCC right there. Public format. Let's do Legend Classic Constructed. And here we go. Again, sorry about the interface. It's a little scrunched up here. The gameplay looks good, but on this tab. It's a little scrunched up. And now we're just waiting again for Living Legend. I'm happy that we got someone in. The last game, Dromai, an unexpected matchup, but that goes to show you it's like Living Legend is going to be an open format. It's going to be fun and exciting. People testing out different things. That seems like a little bit built for more regular classic constructed. That deck, I didn't look at it entirely, but I don't think there's much you can change with Dromai going over into the next format. I think the Lost in Thoughts were in there. That was definitely probably a card with LL in mind. Yeah, but maybe we'll get this game going, a Starvo game going, an Oldhim, perfect. We love to see the Oldhims, and you guys might think I'm crazy for this, but I don't even think we need the Command and Conquers. Like, I think with 66 cards, we can just beat Fatigue. We don't need the Time Snap potions. Those are in there for Prism. And I'm gonna show you how to beat Fatigue with this deck. So, Stubby Hammers were good. I think we would have got about the same value as Stubby Hammers or Grasp, because there was a couple points where I wanted to make a Rune Chant and I couldn't. So, I don't know. I'm going to try the Grasp for this game. Also, Oldhim can throw some on hits that are mean. So, we got 66 cards in deck. Let's get it. Show y'all how to beat Fatigue with this Rosetta. And now this is a game where I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Priority can be adjusted. Priority settings. Always hold. I think that's how we do it. Pass. So there's going to be a lot more clicking. Now here. Pitch that Hypothermia. Good. Get that out. One Frostbite. Does a Frostbite really affect this hand? So we make... Kind of does affect this hand. Because if he didn't Frostbite us here... we still can go... this is kind of annoying. I don't want to get rid of our seeds. We love our Seeds of Agony. We want to pitch that. Don't want to get rid of my Boundings. I want to pitch those Swarming. It's a good attack turn 1. Oh my goodness. Alright, putting us in a bad spot. Freaking Winter's Will. It's been so long since I played against it too. But we can't take damage turn 1. And we'll go here. He will get 2 good cards from us, unfortunately, but it is what it is. See, this is why I'm vibing with the Grasp of the Arcanine. If we really want to, like, this is gonna block a Hammer Swing at some point of the game, which is nice. So you know, I vibe with the Grasp, man. So here's what I'm gonna do, because our curve is pretty good. If we go Bounding, Swarming, Rosetta will not have any Arcane on it, unfortunately, because we didn't draw a non-attack, but it's still going to be, you know, it's still going to be a 3 with 1 Arcane into a 4 into a 2, which is, you know, 10 damage. Not great, not awful. It is what it is. Where's the all good button? No problem. There. And the reason I have the priority this set on is because in this game, the Rosetta Creepers interaction is going to be huge. And we're going to need to use that to our advantage and target ourselves with the Creepers, because with the AB1 Crown of Seeds, he will be able to very easily block our arcane damage and stop us from getting a ton of Creepers value. We saw in the last game how out of control the games can get if they just let us have the Creepers value and they never stop it, and we can get 3 counters on it. You can just go absolutely insane multiple turns in a row. So here he is just going to... This might be an aggro Oldhim. I don't know. He's taking a lot of damage. to do this play he's about to do. Could be an aggro Oldhim here. That's another reason why the Grasp of the Arcanite is like a good choice, because it hedges into different strategies. A Race Face probably lined up with a Pummel. And a Race Face says hero cards tokens lose all class talents till the end of the next turn. I don't know exactly. So this is going to turn off our Chane, probably. That would be the only reason he would keep that, in my opinion. Lose all class and talent types till the end of their next turn. You know what? I'm going to let him have this Pummel here. I'm going to let him do this 10, because the reason is my hand doesn't need it, I don't think. Let me see. Swarming, let me just double check this. One or more auras. So we can make an aura with Grasp, discard the Consuming Volition, Chane, play out our Unhallowed Rites, actually Chane won't give it Go Again, but we can play out our Swarming with Go Again from the auras, and then play out our Unhallowed Rites. We'll still Chane activation, won't give us Go Again. I believe that's how that works. If it is how this works, then we'll be alright. No Pummel, okay. That's fine. Shackle, we hit something. Here. So I believe this will not give us Go Again because we lost all card types. But we're doing it to just filter the hand. Get the +1 on that. Throw the Art of War in Arsenal. That. So, you know, we got 9 damage off for a Race Face turn. Maybe should have blocked it. I was expecting Pummel just because it's like, why would an Oldhim not block extra cards? It just didn't really make sense to me, but... And now he's blocking Stalagmite there. Oh, we Gucci. It's like, do you want to do anything else? No, we're actually Gucci with that. So it does not look like this is the Art of War turn. Unless we're going to do an Art of War to try to get us to something good. You know, I'm okay with taking my time with this Oldhim. I'm okay with that. It's just that we're gonna be banishing 3. Maybe we had you know what? Okay, we'll take our time with this Oldhim. We'll let him get this 4 in here. Doesn't really change. I think I'm just gonna swing 1 attack, this big Runic Reclamation at him. Call it a day with that. Yep. Okay. So we kind of got a good, a fine and dandy play right here. Shackle that. Go ahead. Throw that at him. One thing to note, our Eclipse is at the bottom of our deck, so we will have to set that up late in the game. That won't be, or, you know, we'll shuffle it with Belittle. But if we don't do anything at the moment, it's just going to be a, not dead card, but a card in there that's not doing too much. There's a couple things I could do. That's the fun thing with Chane, is there's always so much you could do. You know, I could go belittle into Rosetta, or like consuming into, you know, belittle into consuming. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw this really big attack at him. Get 2 cards out of his hand, make him where he can't hammer me next turn. I'm gonna take some blood debt. That's fine. We even got some damage off too. Great. Keep this belittle in my hand because it is so powerful. And now the gates open, as they say. The gates have opened now. Where now we get to do some nice and crazy things. And we're gonna ping ourselves with Rosetta so our creepers doesn't go away if that's what it comes down to. So you know what? We're gonna start things off easy. We're just gonna be like, I'll reveal that. Sure, shuffle my deck up. Good, because we don't like where that eclipse was anyway. And that's the thing about people say about Chane, is pitch stacking so important. You have to pick up your deck and everything. Especially with seeds in your deck, you don't need a pitch stack. You don't need a pitch stack. As long as you're pitching some blood debt to the bottom and you're pitching blues to the bottom, you can set up a late game with pretty much anything. In a tournament, there are going to be points where it's like beneficial to know, am I banishing this card on Shackle 6 or am I drawing this card? Which that is going to be, and then this is going to buff, banish, draw 2. It's going to use Tunic. Crown, very smart. Banish that. We're drawing. Oh my goodness, this turn is absolutely insane. Holy goodness. Holy goodness. Okay. Let's think about how we're playing this turn, because we can now search another Minnowism. Oh my goodness, this turn's insane. So currently we have a Shadow Verser that we can play for free using our banishing our bounding. So we'll have 2 in the banish, so we'll need 2 action points for that. We'll get 1 from Chane, 1 from the creepers, or we could just play a Captain's Call. That will cost a total of 1, 2 resources. So we probably need a blue minnow here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to search the blue minnow. And now, you know, I was talking about how good Grasp of the Arcanite is. Stubby Hammers would be pretty good on this turn as well. Oh my goodness. Yep. That's fine. Go ahead, just go. So wide on this turn is insane. You know, and then here's the crazy thing. We don't even need to really... Oh, I guess if we want to play everything out. I mean, we could... We still have the Chane activation. This is so good. I think we want to play... What? It's just gotta be Minnowism, right? Bait you into the stalagmite, please. Got to go. Good game. Got to go. Aw, that's... I think the writing was on the wall there. He said he had to go. That's unfortunate, but that's sad because that was a pop-off turn. How much damage did we deal? Thread in, dealt. We did 10. We were about to do about... We were gonna go Rift Bind for a lot, and then into a Rosetta Thorn. That's just crazy. But he had to go. I'm counting that as a win because we were gonna win that game. So we'll go ahead. I'll change that real quick. To a 2-1. Well, no, I won't say that. I'll go 1.5. We'll say it a solid 1.5. And looking for Bravo. Deck link. There we go. Game name. CC. And I mean, that didn't really count. So I guess we'll play one or two more from here. That was upsetting because I wanted to play that game out to show y'all like the power of like, you know, I mean, y'all saw the power there of the Art of War and everything, but like more the power of just like the potential if we had to set up a pitch stack, you know, playing the Eclipse late game. I mean, these are big good games, and for Eclipse, like the Dromai game was a perfect one of like how powerful if, you know, Creepers is left unchecked. But I really did want to like ping myself a couple times with some Arcane to show you that interaction, which would have been nice, but it is what it is. So we'll probably hop into one more here, and if it's one more good game, then I'll let everyone get about their Sunday afternoons. By the way, how's everyone doing in the chat? Is everyone still good? Everyone still chilling? Music good? Yeah, but I really wish I could finish that game. I used to hate Oldham, man. It was the bane of my existence as a Chane player, playing against Oldham. It's like, Oldham. But then as soon as I figured out the matchup, it felt so much like, now it's like I'm excited to play Fatigue, like against Fatigue with Chane, because it's a fun puzzle. It's a fun puzzle, it really is. But we'll try to get one more game here. Hanging out, video editing. That's awesome, Thomas. I've seen those shorts you've been making. They have been sick, man. Love those. Then Emery doing great, just getting ready for Armory. You know what? And that is part of the reason why I wanted to start a little bit earlier on Sunday. That way people could pop in the stream, and then, you know, usually if we didn't do the whole building the deck process, be about a 2-hour stream, 1 o'clock. That way people can get to their armories and stuff like that. I have an armory at 3 that I can go to. It's a little bit far away, and just taking a chill day today, so not gonna go there. But yep, that was another consideration for me, just armories and stuff like that. But I'm glad to hear you're going. I gotta start going back to armories. I've been putting them off this year. Even though I was technically in contention for that top 50 lifetime, and I should have been grinding, it's not that I lost the passion, it's just couldn't get the time really. There we go, Prism. What a great matchup. So we want to go Prism wants the tempo. We'll deal with the Herald, like, we'll deal with the annoying stuff if they have it. Prism, fatigue potential game. So we gotta play this. Now, this is where we actually put in these time snap potions. Now, I haven't thought about what I want to cut for these said time snap potions. I think we can easily cut the consuming volitions, and then let's just find one more random card. What is a card that is definitely cuttable in this matchup? You know what? Organized activity around the armory. Yes, yeah. You just feel so bad when you go to an event and have a bad day. Yeah, true. Then most of the time, getting breakfast and dinner with the homies makes it worth the whole day. That's what I gotta start doing on Saturday. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and play one less time snap. I think that, I don't know, I might cut that out of the deck actually, but 68 just seems like a good rounded number to play against Prism. Yeah, but one of the things I used to always do was get Williamson Brothers. It's a barbecue spot in Georgia with the homies. And that was the highlight, man. That was absolutely the highlight of going to Saturday armories. So I want to get back to doing that. So we did lose a pretty good hand there with some stuff, but we cannot let our Red Herald of Protection hit turn 0. So we took our L's gracefully. But you know what? I'm okay with this hand. This hand does arcane damage, does some physical. And, you know, it's presenting about 10. I'm cool with that. Shadow Williams Brothers, yes. If you're ever in the Atlanta area, go to Marietta, go to the spot called Williamson Brothers. It will change your life. Just like, it just straight up changes your life. He left a resource floating there. Interesting. He could have just blocked the footsteps, or if, I don't know if he used Arcane Barrier or not. Ooh, Popper coming in clutch. Get that out of here. That's your turn, sir. Now here, ooh, another Minnowism. Okay, so we gotta keep that in mind. 2 Minnowisms red in the bin. This is where I really want to establish this time snap potion. So even though we did a Fab birthday outing, got drunk, speakeasy, and argued about Viscerai Tech. That sounds like a good time. That's playing the game and seeing the world. Absolutely. Maybe once we get our podcast started back up, maybe we can do an episode about stories, just fun stories. But that the card guys have traveling adventures, playing the game, seeing the world, because there's plenty of them. Trust me, there's plenty. But here, even though it would be better value to go like, you know, looks like this Prism wants to aggro me down. Keeping all of his hand, I did not know that, but it's like, what can you do? I really want to get this time snap potion established. It's just so important if they try to set up the double arc light, which might not be a big deal anymore because of Warmongers. Maybe they just do it anyway, but ideally you just want this in. Clear double aura turns, clear arc light, like Genesis. Like, yeah, nothing we can, like, that will be fine because next turn we're going to clear that. S-O-B. Cannot leave that on the... Yes, we do have a spoiler card. Watch out for that. It's a good card. That's all I can say. I've been sworn. Taking one here. Yep, giving it go again, making a shield. Oh, no go again, actually. Okay. We got plays, y'all. We got plays. We definitely got to kill that thing. So that is definitely where our Rosetta Thorn's going at the end of this turn. What are we doing in the meantime, though? I know exactly what we're doing. So, about Chane, easiest thing to remember about Chane is just playing to your cost curve of your hand is usually the best. So it's like, here we can go play our seeds, shackle, bounding, shadow puppetry, pitch that, attack him for a 7 command and conquer, get cards out of him, and then attack into the Genesis to finish out that. And I'm very happy doing that. Hopefully get rid of these spectral shields with this like puny attack. Then we play our shadow puppetry. Play our beefy boy. And luckily we got rid of those shields and everything, so this is even more brutal for him because he can't even Phantasmal Footsteps this. And then he's letting us look at the top. We did banish an Art of War. Not great banish it so far, but we did get that seed, so it all evens out. Banishes, as long as you don't mill 3 Art of Wars, chilling. Usually chilling. Bounding Demigod. Do we want to banish that? Yes, I would. I would like to banish it. You know why? Maybe I should send this sucker straight into this Genesis right here. Don't know if it's worth using the resource of a blue bounding, but a blue bounding's just like, it's just there. Now we're gonna regret getting rid of the blue bounding, of course. That's the bane of my, yeah, Shadow Puppetry CNC was the bane of my existence in RTN season. It was. It's a breakpoint. It sucks. Yo, and you have, I was about to say, and you have that? Okay, okay, I'm rocking with that banished. I'm rocking with it. Oh my god, it's been so long that I've played into Prism. I was like, wait, if I give it go again, well, that, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. We're breaking this. Have the arc light. Please play 2. Let me just get rid of both of them. All right, and let's see. What do we want to get out? Guess we can just go ahead and attack our Rosetta into there. All right, now we can play the game. Now we are playing the game. Shackle there. Don't think it's Creeper's time yet. Unless. Okay, so we get to put that yellow seeds back on the bottom. Footsteps there. He is blocking all of it, so we're not getting that value. I was gonna say maybe we can use creepers if he lets us get one over, so we can draw a card off our plunder run, but doesn't look like. Looks like this guy's a little bit smarter than that, so I respect it. Here, I am just gonna go ahead. That's on the combat chain. If we were playing super tight, I should have made a rune chant at the beginning of this. because my plan was to play this out to Arsenal, this plunder run. But now if I break the Chane, he's just going to get that free Phantasmal Footsteps block, and he'll have the one floating for the Rune Chant, so there's no point of doing that. I guess keeping the Time Snap in our hands also fine. Put that at the bottom. And then we get a nice plunder run from Arsenal to just, you know, just have in there. Casual, have in there. We know he has an erudition in his Arsenal. That's coming out. To be honest with you, I like this hand. I really like this hand. Oh my goodness. This hand's really good. You're about to just get... I guess, in all fairness, we can just block the Unhallowed Rites. We have the Bounding already. We're going to hit more. The safe play is probably just this, which we'll go with the safe play. Because that if we mill like 2 more attacks, then that's just going to be clunked up in our hand anyway. We already have the Belittle, the Fuse with Belittle. And actually, okay, we did mill. We did mill. So yeah, we are all gooch. We are gooch here. Start. So this is an important thing about Prism 2. So they can respond with the shackles to the shackles being activated. So how it works is like, before the last shackle's revealed. So before you flip like on shackle 4 before it's revealed, they can play an Arclight Sentinel. But if they don't and it goes into your turn, let's say he has an Arclight Sentinel in his hand that he's waiting for our first non-attack to play, what we can do is if we play the Belittle first, we've already played an attack for our creepers. So then when we play our creepers, we gain 2 action points. And then we can blow up his Arclight Sentinel if he were to have it. Which I don't think he does, but just in case. Just in case I want to throw it out there. Now, what are we grabbing? So it looks like we don't care about mana because all of our stuff costs 0. So we're getting this red. And here is a cool play too that he is about to learn. This plunder run from Arsenal, instant speed. I'll just go ahead and guarantee myself that card. Oh my goodness. Oh man, I wish I had a Riftbind. It's taken so much damage this turn, it's ridiculous. Casual chain turn be like. Soul Shield. Everything else is just free damage. That's power. That's power right there, lads. didn't mill anything relevant other than the Eclipse, alright? Oh, okay, Shadowverse. So it gave priority to me on that last one, just to see if I want to do anything. Again, this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, we could just go ahead and attack him. What I'll do is I'll activate the Shackle, see if he responds. If not, no response to the Shackle. Just go ahead, play this Art of War. Buff, draw 2. No reason not to. Wow. And we're just clearing out the arsenal at this point to put this plunder run in there again and do this all over again. Ooh. We don't have an arcane shooting at him, though. I mean, at this point, we could, like, buy an action point, play the plunder. I think this lines up how I want it to. We could have done this way cleaner, way smoother, but I was planning on arsenaling it. But at this point, we can just play this. We get his last card, we draw a card, we can still go Rosetta, keep our creepers again. Oh, man. He's bending. Tanking the damage. Just go ahead. And, I think the writing's on the wall here. This one. Just to play it 100% safe. Yeah. Riptide stinks. Let's see if we get some salt. Rematch? We'll go one more. Let's run it. We'll do one more. I feel like that game was pretty favorable for us. So definitely just try to see what Prism can do. And but this will probably be the last match, and then I'll let everyone get on. Let everyone have their Saturday to themselves. But I appreciate those who have, you know, stayed in here. I've seen we had about like a good amount of viewers the entire time, so appreciate everyone who's just got it running. But yeah, that last one, pretty convincing W. And then Oldham game was pretty good. Dromai game, pretty convincing. So Chane is so powerful. So powerful. You know, maybe when I'm getting everything set up, we can have like some Starvos planned out and stuff. So we can get some like more like high power. But But yeah, okay, so we get to Arsenal. Riftbind, fine. It's like not a great Arsenal card, but it is what it is. It's fine. So I'm thinking we go Rune Chant, we play the seeds, Rune Chant Swarming, Rune Chant, Riftbind, Swarming, Rosetta, if we don't have to block again. So just gonna give that up. Passing Mirage, so gonna go ahead and do this first. Attack with Riftbind. That way we ooh, messed up my math there, but it's all good. It's all Gucci. We just won't be able to make the Rosetta. Honestly, I mean turn on the Rosetta, not make it. Make the Rune Chant to turn on the Swarming and Rosetta. But I think this is fine. Just why even turn on the Rosetta at this point? Because we're just attacking the passing Mirage, so we can just go boop into you like so. Then clean it up with an easy Rosetta into there. See if we're gonna get the famed double aura on us this turn. He's got another blue one. Attacking for 1. Which one is this again? -1 while defending, and Spectra. It's good. So we will go ahead and play the seeds out. Shackle. Ooh, okay. Yep, this is not great. I forgot that it's an attacking. Kind of learning Prism back myself here. Yep. Oh, that's all you got. That's good here. Great form, actually. And I'm just gonna do this to set up our next hand, I think. Go ahead, attack for 1, Arsenal the... I think this is exactly what I'm going to do, is pitch there. Banish that. Set that up for next turn. Just do, I mean, you know, not much. Haven't seen. Want to see full screen. So we did full screen a little bit earlier, and it just with how my computer and OBS works, it just doesn't line up right, and it makes it too zoomed in. So this is the best way that that we've figured out for right now. I'm going to try to change it up in a little bit, but best way I figured out for right now to have it. Now, this is interesting. Because Break Starlight Sentinel, so he gets to keep that parable for another, blocking him effectively like 3 health per turn. And he gets to roll back up, I believe, with that. Or did he already? Okay, but this is perfect because now next turn we can belittle, do some creepers, shenanigans, and get going. Here, we're just taking this. 7. Vanilla. Sure. And we got some hits in here. You know, we got some good hits, so I am just going to start us out very right with a little minnowism line. Sheesh, we can do a lot here. So here is the cool thing we can do. Now we can creep. Lay out this seeds. Get to 2 action points. Lay out this blue. Attack that bad boy right there. And now we have the full turn to keep on doing shenanigans. And, you know, perfectly enough. Just gonna keep the train going. And I don't think, I mean, we could just search another minnowism and just go two big attacks. But we need the arcane. But we need the arcane to hit and connect, so. Creeper shenanigans might make a good shirt. Thought explaining that one might be difficult. One thing, Nathaniel, great to see you in here. Thank you for popping in. And you're right, that might be a tough one to explain. But yeah, creeper shenanigans are fun for sure. So what we're going to do is take this key moment. Is our line is pretty simple. It's just like, we're going to shackle. I mean, we're going to make a rune chant. We're going to shackle. We're going to attack with this. We can even play our Mavrine, but then we're breaking the chain. So I don't think we necessarily want to do that. So I'm pretty okay doing this. Playing that out. Shackling here. Making him deal with this arcane again. And we actually need to change this somehow, where always hold priority. That's what we need. Manual targeting. That's what we need. Okay. Because this next interaction is going to be, I think this is going to be the creepers, where he's got it set up right here where he's just going to creepers. It should let us, and this is what I'm talking about right here. That right there, that is the most important thing. See what I just did there? Now that creepers is live. He did all that, kept that 2 floating, didn't matter. And, you know, he got the spectral shield out of it, which is fine. It was a good, either way was fine for him. I'm not saying he didn't know about it. I think it's just one of those things. He put me in the position where I would have to do it either way. But the fact that you can do that is just insane. Here we go. We're taking a spectral shield. Subvert existence. Seeds of agony. Let's see if he has any non-attacks in there. These are instants and auras, and he does have a non-attack, so that is actually active this turn. Let me see what we want to do here. So I think the line is going to be make a rune chant, play the blue Seeds of Agony, Bounding Demigon, Rosetta, and then pitch the Rift Bind for... Oh, we could actually even play the Vexing Malice too. Oh, sorry. So we are going to pitch the Eclipse because we want that out of here. Play the Seeds. Shackalackle. Play the Bounding. It's gonna block. I'm just going to target myself with that one. I mean, we could even play our Mavrine. Go into that, but I think it's not necessary. Choose Sarcastic Mirage, and we'll just choose Herald of Erudition. Target them. And this is where it would be like important to like count your deck and everything, but since we're streaming, I'm just gonna, you know, assume that Eclipse on top is a little bit better. It could not be, but here we go. More blues. We are getting a lot of blues. But maybe that means we'll banish our reds, which is also fine. Definitely okay to block with this Vexing Mouse, though, if he throws a good enough attack at me. I'm always wary when Prism has 2 floating about what is the next attack that they could throw. Oh, and it looks like he's just going to make a shield because it wasn't a yellow. Big brain. Not me. I don't have a big brain, obviously. Cool. So we got some good cards. I think it's time for another Creeper's turn. Just trying to figure out what is the best line to do that. You know, figuring out, are we going to try to make a rune chant? If we do, what are we doing? Where are we pitching? So we can easily just go I'm going to start us off with the Shackle. See what he does. A ghostly visit at his face. Again, see what he does. cool, so we're getting the commitment that he's probably not doing anything too crazy. So then we are good to make this room chant. And how many attacks do we want? Play the seeds. I think we already have some seeds in there. So we could play the seeds. Or we could play the Mavrine. So if we go Creepers, Mavrine, we go Unhallowed Rites, Unhallowed Rites. That's 3 mana. That, and then is that for free? Unhallowed Rites, action point, go again, Rosetta. I like that. So that is exactly what we're going to do. This is also throwing a bunch of arcane. One day I'll get my red extended arc ghostlies, then my L chain deck will be complete. That is what I'm saying. Those like channel fireball promos, I think they came in yellow and they just never got released to the market, and everyone's just like, what is going on? Like, why can we not have those cards? And I'm in agreement with you. I want those cards. So I feel that in my soul. Is he letting me make an aura? Okay, cool. Use our action point here. Extra one. And we're just loading up the deck with Seeds of Agony again. That's why it's so powerful. This Unhallowed Rites effect with seeds. I have 3 yellow. Okay. I didn't know if people were able to find even the yellow ones, but that's good to know that someone found, like, they're out there. Red exists. I think Mansant has one. Well, tell Mansant to give me one, alright? And then this is just getting such insane value. Throwing another 0 for 4. That right there. Targeting Prism, just all the damage that we can throw. I think we put like 2 seeds on the bottom of our deck, so let's put those attack actions up there first, and then we'll lay that seeds down there. Pass, pass. And another full hand. Wow. It's crazy. Play the seeds. See what he does. Okay. Shackle. Play one of those. Seeds of Agony. We're targeting you at this point because the creepers is going to be ourselves if we have to. And then we are going to activate this instant, pitching 1, buff your next attack, banish, draw 2. Banishing this Ghostly Touch, giving us a +1, essentially. I guess they're in a Channel Fireball warehouse somewhere that never got distributed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, those need to see the light of day. I need to see them. Go ahead, use our creepers here. Play out a Shadow Puppetry, instant speed. This is getting absolutely gross. Yeah, the second game is definitely close, for sure. Then here, we still have 2 action points left. Definitely a big grind here. Then here we are going to and our creepers is gonna die, but that's all right. I think we have enough. I think it's done its job at this point. I think we should be able to clean up the game. With a Riftbind combo coming up or something of that nature. Shackle. See what happens. Arclight. Yep, that's why you shackle first. Go ahead, throw that into Arclight Sentinel. Instant. Select that, draw up. Fortune. At this point, we could just filter if we wanted to. Hand's fine, we're about to banish all of our attacks. I'll let you get the soul. The cards in Duck's Dawn with more shadow cards attacking the soul. Do you think it's close enough to maybe throw those in? I remember RuneGate Chane that had them, but never played it though. You know, I don't know. I think with your creeper shenanigans and things like that, you should be good. Like in my opinion, like I think the matchup is close. Like here, I think he's used 2 Arclights, so like the only thing that really blows us out is another Arclight, and then that's why we'll go ahead block that there. Husk, yeah, it's been, oh yeah, Husk, oh yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while for Husk. It's getting banished. We could have saved ourselves. That is true though. Should have blocked with the Husk right there to get some value. Do we don't have the Eclipse yet. A little concerning. Could shackle off the rip. Just see what he does. If he, you know, if he ALS, he's gonna ALS anyway. Does he have it? Okay. Looks like he doesn't, which is good for us. We don't want to deal with that. And let's go ahead and might be asking why am I using Minnowism now? It's just to get some of these out of our hand. Get some of these boundings right here. To make a schmackle. Let's go ahead and get this. Now we could go off here in like a small way, which just might be the play. Yeah, I think it's actually just the play to try to kill here. Reason being is if he draws into an ALS next turn, we're actually just dead on, I think, not dead on the spot, but we're in a bad shape there. And I think we still have one Riftbind left. Yeah, so that's kind of, you want to banish, sure. At this point we can just go seeds. And then I think anything, but we'll just send. But yeah, so thank you, Riptide Stinks, for the game. For the 2 games actually. I think they were very good. And I think it was a good showcase overall just today of Chane, his power, what he can do. I will go ahead and somewhere put this link up for y'all with this deck list. So if y'all want to try it out, we can try it out. If you, for the next stream, we can make some innovations to it. I'll probably post it up on Twitter, so that way y'all can get access to that. And you know, just check out the Chane deck. Maybe I'll even try to write a guide for it for the patrons. You know, just, but I'm super excited. LO seems super fun. I'm so happy to be playing Chane again. We'll have the list up on our Discord. Thanks, Kyle, for that. So yeah, we'll post the link up on our Discord. So if you guys go into that, you can get the list right there. But I just appreciate everyone for coming out. Gonna be doing this next week, so, and I think I'm gonna do Living Legend again next week. Might not be Chane, might be Chane, but I think I'm gonna keep LL up for a little bit till we do my new series in the works right now. But I just want to say thanks everyone for coming out and, you know, hanging out with me. But you guys have a great day. Stay positive, stay happy, and just keep going on the 2024 goals train. All right, see y'all.